Hey everybody, Dr. Shook here, and this is another sauna session. In this sauna session, what I want to talk to you guys about is a common question that I get, and that is, I have Hashimoto's, I'm hypothyroid, I have chronic yeast infections, and typically that's associated with poor bowel function, so typically constipation. So let me share with you some really important facts here, okay? Some things that we see clinically that I want to talk to you about something that the most common thing that I see that is missed that causes yeast infections. But let's start with why the first of all. So chronic recurring yeast infections that can occur for several different reasons. But I'd say the most common reason that I see in practice is when we really try to look at the root driver of the problem. People will say diet and sugars, and yeah, that contributes, but the primary, the most frequent reason that I see it is actually because of poor gut motility due to poor brain activation of the GI tract. Okay, so your brain activates your intestinal tract to carry out this process called peristalsis. Okay, so peristalsis is when your intestinal tract, remember, it's a long tube, right? So it's a long tube, and the way that the food moves through the GI tract is that muscles tighten up like a circular ring, and then it milks the length of the GI tract, okay? And that moves the food through the GI tract. That's called peristalsis. Now, what happens is a lot of times with hypothyroidism is that you will have, because remember, the thyroid hormone is the gas pedal, and it stimulates everything. Neurologically, it stimulates the brain, the neurons, every single cell and tissue requires thyroid hormone. So if you have low thyroid hormone activity, what you can see happen is that people will actually start to develop constipation because they get this poor brain activation of the GI tract. Now, what can happen due to that stasis or that slowing of the food as it moves through the digestive tract is that you can have an increase in fermentation. You can see bacteria balance change. You can see yeast grow and really flourish and take advantage of this slow transit time where it should be faster, right? So it gives yeast, it gives the fungus, it gives the bacteria an opportunity to really take hold and overgrow. And so what we end up seeing happening a lot is that people will have, poor thyroid function, leads to poor gut motility, poor vagal activation, and then you can actually have a lot of consequences that kind of snowball because of the chronic infections in the gut. They can start developing food sensitivities. Then they have inflammatory and increased inflammatory load that occurs, and that can further interfere with the brain's activation of the gut. The inflammatory load can do that. So then you have all these problems occurring at one time. And so someone goes to a doctor, and if they're looking for root issues, a lot of times they might say, let's do a stool test and let's see what we can find. So then they'll do a stool test, and the stool test will come back with yeast, and they'll be like, oh yeah, we found it. You got a chronic infection. So let's treat the yeast with an anti-candida, like anti-yeast diet. Let's give you some supplements. Let's maybe put you on a prescriptive medication to wipe it out, and everybody's cheering and happy. But the reality is, and they'll say, well, we'll get your bowels moving, so let's put you on some magnesium, let's put you on some other things maybe to help with the bowels moving, and the bowels move better and you feel better, the yeast infection's gone, maybe you do well, but then a few months, year later, it comes back. And so what happens is that really a lot of times this gut-brain connection is completely overlooked, and this the yeast infections are oftentimes a symptom of something else that's happening. Usually it's poor gut motility. That's what I very commonly see. And so sometimes addressing just the yeast and thinking if you kill the yeast, it'll never come, it's gone and you're good. But you've got to address proper bowel activation from the brain. So I wanted to share that with you guys because constipation, and it's just really called vagal activation of the gut. The vagus nerve originates in the brainstem and fires in the entire digestive tract. If it's not being activated by the brain with enough frequency, then you will have slowing of the gut. You won't activate the migrating motor complexes of the GI tract, which are the motor units that that cause the peristalsis and the movement of the food. So I just want to share that with you guys because it's really common. You can't overlook the brain. Whenever I'm looking at cases and I'm looking at history and they're telling me about how their digestive tract function is, then I'm always looking for this, and I'm considering, do I need to do something more than just address an infection if it's present, right? Do I need to have them do brain-based exercises to work on stimulating the digestive tract? And it's a real possibility, because you don't want to miss. You want to go as far upstream with this stuff as you possibly can towards the root of the problem, so you can help someone live a really, long life that's fulfilling by addressing, why this is actually happening. And it's complex, it's something that you work towards always doing that with every person, but it's really difficult to do sometimes because everyone's different, and we're all unique. You just do the best you can, right? So you empower yourself, you learn, you keep studying, you watch videos like this, and you're like, wow, you put these pieces of the puzzle together. And that's what I try to do, right? Whenever I see someone in the office, or we work with someone through distance consulting, I envision I'm laying out the pieces of the puzzle, and then I'm going to put these pieces of the puzzle together and see what we can come up with, and see if there's some kind of plan or intervention that we might be able to do to help them get better quality of life, because that's what it's all about. So anyway, I'm Dr. Shook. I appreciate you guys so much coming here to learn more about your health. If there's anything that we can do for you, just let us know. Give us a call. If you're somewhere other than, we're in North Carolina, and if there's somewhere other than here and you can't make a trip to our office, then maybe you'd be a good distance consulting client. Maybe that would work for you, because we do that with a lot of people around the country and in other countries via Skype, phone, or even FaceTime. And maybe we can help you out if you need some one-on-one assistance. If you're really just trying to figure out, what's going on with your body, you can, if you've been to your doctor and you're still not getting really good answers, then just keep learning. Keep reading, keep learning, keep watching. My videos I try to teach all the time. You may be interested in getting some of the guidebooks that we've put together. I've put together one on the thyroid, 9 tests required to understand your thyroid. And if you're interested in that, just let us know, and I'll post a link below so that you can get to our website and you can get it if you're interested in it. And then just look into what's happening and just try to figure it out. And if you need assistance, don't hesitate to seek out help. Okay, so I appreciate you guys again, and hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks.